You read the title, so let's just dive in without some cheesy intro. Starting off this list, we've got Karai SP7. The move used to be horrible, I won't lie, but now with the running changes, you're fighting against the slowness if you try to escape it. To be fair, most classes have their own ways of escaping, but if you're playing something like Avalon, you might be screwed. As for those who have ways of countering the move, you gotta remember, SP7 is able to be modded to bait out those counters. Next up is Revenant SP7. If you're gonna use 3 heat, you might as well go for SP8, considering it deals true damage. The only upside to SP7 is that it can hit multiple targets and is able to break brace. Sal on SP8 takes 8th place. The move is pretty quick and is able to catch players off guard pretty well in my opinion. It'd be nice to bring back the modifiers from years ago, which would change the distance that SP8 travels, so to speak. Other than that, it does pretty high damage at 250 by itself. Number 7, let's face it, Avalon's SP6 is useless. The only use it had prior to Secure's release was dodging Karai SP7. Now that you can't do that anymore, it's only useful against one class, Virtue, and even then it's only helpful if they're mostly using water specials. Speaking of useless, Virtue SP8 is a waste of heat and effort. Its startup only makes it viable if your opponent isn't paying attention whatsoever. It has some uses in roll reads, but chances are your opponent will have enough time to block before they get hit by the bulk of SP8. Revenant Guard Break takes 5th place, right in the middle. This thing is so insanely slow that you'd have to have the mind of a toddler to get hit by it. The only upside to it is the fact that it's got super armor, but even then, it's got enough N-like to be super easily punished. On the topic of guard breaks, Virtue straight up doesn't work sometimes. If your opponent is at a specific distance from you, they'll take no shield damage, and it won't even register as a hit if they unblock. Even when the move decides to work, it's only used for pressure, not breaking shields. Third on the list is Citadel SP7. Considering its wacky hitbox and the inconsistent momentum, SP7 can be a pain simply to land. In second place we've got Citadel SP5. This special has fallen so far from glory. What used to be a force to be reckoned with is now a minor inconvenience at best. It hardly slows and doesn't prevent jumping. The only reason it isn't number 1 is because it's relatively safe to cast and requires no heat. But before we get to number 1, I'd like to give some honorable mentions to a couple moves that didn't quite make the list. Breakpoint, for being useless against anyone who has eyes. Avalon SP8, despite the magnet, it gets beat up by anything that has any sort of super armor. Virtue SP7, for being an amazing and wonderful reversal with no flaws whatsoever. Revenant JJC, for being mostly useless, it's only viable if you landed a counter hit. And Citadel JAC, for being the easiest move to rebound and punish. But without a further ado, the worst move in all of Black Magic 2, Avalon SP7. Just to backtrack a little, SP4 has undergone several changes across the years, but never did I ever think that we'd have a special that did, quite literally, nothing. As described in the game, SP7 is supposed to lower opponent's shield HP to 10 if they get hit by SP4 while marked. The damage value in neutral is still fine, dealing 290 damage. Editing Crusader here. Hey, so it turns out that being marked and getting hit by SP4 actually deals 150 damage? I swear on my life, it used to be 290, but now it's 150, which adds even more to the uselessness of this move. But that's if and only if it lands in neutral. If you land SP4 on a marked opponent in the middle of a combo, you're just wasting the mark. You might be wondering though, if the mark doesn't lower your shield HP to 10 anymore, what does it lower it to? Well, here's regular unmarked SP4, and here's marked SP4 for comparison. Do you really think this is worth 3 bars? If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking to the end. If you like what you saw, leave a like, subscribe maybe for more content like this, and 20 likes and I'll do 10 good, awesome, good, best moves. Yes. Okay, bye.